Well,
I want
thanks.
to bring in the Fox News Sunday anchor, Chris Wallace. How are you, my friend? We were talking about this 2 weeks ago. Every governor, they've got big decisions to make. This is another big one, Chris.
They do indeed have big decisions to make, but, there are good decisions and bad decisions. And you've got the president saying he thinks that Governor Kemp of Georgia, and the president is a huge backer of Governor Kemp. He might not be governor if it weren't for the support of Donald Trump, and he thinks this is a bad decision. He's really come down pretty hard on Governor Kemp for exactly the reasons that Governor Lamont did, that he thinks they're opening too soon and they're opening some businesses that shouldn't be opened. And also, Georgia is not following the president's own task force guidelines, which is that there has to be a steady diminution in the number of cases for 2 weeks. That's not true in Georgia. So he's gone against the president's guidelines, and the president says, I'm going to let you do it, but I don't like it.
I think some of the reports out of Georgia are interesting. A lot of people choosing to stay home, even with the ability to go out today and even more so on Monday. Many have not elected to take advantage of that. Meanwhile, Congress passed another $500 billion bill signed into law a few hours ago. Chris, this is extraordinary. I mean, really, really big money here. What's the appetite to do more now, do you think, in Washington?
Well, there's not a lot of appetite to do it when you consider everything that they have spent, the Congress and the president has signed, plus the amount of debt racked up by the Fed. We're talking $5-6 trillion in added debt. But there's a need out there. I think you see more of an interest in responding from the Democrats, who really think that there needs to be some money to help states that are being really hard hit by the crashing revenue. And want to give the money to first responders and EMTs and people like that who are desperately needed in this crisis. Republicans not so sure. And in fact, the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, saying they're not going to do anything until they come back, which will be at least the week after next.
He's saying May 4th on that. In the meantime, you've been following the back and forth between UV lights and what was said at the briefing last night, what was said at the Oval Office today, I should say. What's your take on all that, Chris?
Well, I did watch the briefing yesterday, and it seemed to me that the president was not advocating it, but he was certainly asking a couple of scientists and doctors, what about the possibility of injecting people with disinfectant, something like alcohol or Clorox or Lysol, to try to kill the virus, because according to the scientists at the Department of Homeland Security, when you wipe that on a hard surface like a doorknob, it kills the virus. And in fact, when one reporter challenged him and said, people are really listening to these briefings, Mr. President. Do you want to be just speculating, or you want to give them facts? The president said, I'm the president and you're fake news. It was a reporter for the Washington Post. President says today, well, he was just being sarcastic. But this raises the danger, because a lot of people think that when the president says something, they take it very seriously. In the state of Maryland, the emergency hotline says that they have gotten, since that briefing yesterday, more than 100 calls of people saying, hey, is it safe for me to drink a disinfectant? It may sound crazy, but obviously people take the president's words seriously. So, the answer is no, it's not safe. A lot of the major manufacturers say it isn't.
Don't drink the Lysol. Quickly here on the Fox polling, I want to squeeze this in right now. Joe Biden in Michigan's up 8 points. In Pennsylvania, he's up 8 points. In Florida, according to our polling, he's up 3 points. If you look at the calendar, it's almost May. Chris, you've got a national election in about 6 months. You've got a president who can't leave the White House. You've got a challenger who can't leave his own house. As of today, how's this campaign going to go?
Well, look, I think that what we're talking about now and how it plays out over the next few months is probably going to be the key. That to a large degree, this may not be a vote so much about Trump versus Biden, but more a referendum on how the president handles the crisis. If we get to September and October and people understand the president can't wait, wave a magic wand either in terms of health or the economy, but if people sense that the president has handled it about as well as you can, both public health and handling the economy, then my guess is he's going to win. And if conversely, if they think that he's not handled either one well or both not well, then I think he's going to lose. And to a certain degree, despite the efforts of the White House to try to make this a choice between Biden and Trump, I'm not sure that it really will be. I think it could be a referendum on Donald Trump and how he has done.
I remember when you said it a few weeks ago. You're staying by it. Thank you, Chris.